everybody, and welcome back to the channel. For today's episode, I wanted to talk to you today about how the narcissist realizes in the current predicament they are in that you are the better choice. So let's jump in. So the narcissist, they may have a good source of supply, meaning you, okay? And they may have everything going well for them. And you would think, well, if you're doing everything for them, you're supplying their needs as best as you possibly can, and you know that they're insatiable, then why would they ever leave or discard you? Why would they ever want to have the feeling to do that when you supply them with love and care and support, protection? You may have a nice place, you may have nice things, you may have a good job, all around together. Why would they leave something like that? You're not hooked on drugs, or you're not an alcoholic, you don't cheat, all these things, right? You've taken them back probably a bunch of times, but so, it's like you care, you've been there thick and thin in a lot of ways, most time. And then they leave you. And why would they do that? They do that for several reasons, but one is because they're impulsive and they can't help themselves. It's kind of like if you had an addiction to drinking or smoking or anything, whatever it would be, you're going to, if you're addicted to it, you're going to have to get that fix. And in a lot of ways, until you decide that you want to break that addiction in your life, then it's going to have power over you. In the case of the narcissist, they are addicted to people. People are their crack. And a lot of times their supply starts by them being validated and in the form of the adoration, admiration, and the fawning. The adrenaline from what they're doing to you and how bad you feel and all of the negative attributes of the fuel that they receive is down the road after they devalue and discard you, and you have gotten to know them and they've gotten to know you. Then they become the true wolf in sheep's clothing. There's more to come from that. It's just devious stuff that they can play on you after. When you know somebody and you do evil things to them versus somebody you just met, it's not the same. And if you like evil, if you like to hurt and you like sadism, you get off on people being hurt, then the best hurt is going to be from somebody that you've been with for a long time or been with for longer, because it hurts worse. When they leave you like that, there's several things. So they're impulsive and they can't help themselves because they're addicted to people and that validation. I mean, they just eat it up. Given the right source of supply or potential, they see another potential source of supply that they want to nail down. They got to get under wraps. And if they're with you, they will drop you. It doesn't matter if they have family, children, if you have a really good thing going, and you're wondering why they don't see it. So the narcissist is consistently inconsistent, because they cannot do anything but run cycles. And what I wanted to say about this is, when you don't have love and the fruits of the spirit, and you don't have an innate self, self to regulate you, then there's nothing good in you. So when you have nothing good in you, these are the things that attach people in relationships, that bond people or pair bond people. They say the narcissist cannot pair bond with an individual. They can link up, latch on, they could sink their hooks in you, but they really can't love you. They can't pair bond with you. And so they have the black and white thinking. You're either all good or all bad, and all you got to do is just slight them. And so these are things that will get them to leave you, because at the end of the day, they have to self-sabotage, because they cannot get vulnerable with you. They gave up vulnerability, and when they gave up vulnerability, they gave up the fruits of the spirit, their innate self, and their inside voice. They all were tethered together based on their vulnerability, which ends up being defined more as love. And when you give up on those things, you cannot have a relationship. So they're forced to sabotage. It's part of the programming. So they will never have love. They will never be in a loving relationship. They will never quit their cycles because they're stuck in them, and there's nothing they can do because they made a contract with the enemy. I mean, it's basically how it works, y'all. So when you wonder, like, how are they going to ever reap what they've sown on all the evil that they've done to you? They do every day, really. And if nothing changed from here on out, and they kept living their life just as successful as you may think they are, they're not. But a lot of times they can make things seem that way, but things are not as though they seem. They are master manipulators, and they're working with devious things that have the ability to seduce. So with that, the longer you're with them, the more there is a pull and a demand on vulnerability and love and compassion and loyalty and all of these things that they cannot give you. And the longer, if they were to stay in long relationships like that and be forced to even try to go down that road, you would see a whole lot more of their game. And they don't want you to see anything. Again, it's vulnerability. The more they know even about their game that you know is vulnerability to them. They want you to know nothing about them, ever. And they just want to use you and come back and use you and use you and use you, break you down, destroy you and use you. And that's why it doesn't matter. When you're consistent and you're doing excellent things and good things and everything, they don't like that. That's boring to them. You can be a solid individual, but it's boring to them. It's just boring. That's what it is. Somebody who has got a consistent regimen and they're very successful, that'll end up becoming boring to the narcissist over a short period of time, because they like volatility, they like chaos, and they like disorder and confusion. They live in it and love it. Well, they are gamblers, and they will gamble everything for that new supply. If they think they can gamble in the way of, let me go nail this new supply down and see if I can come back. And chances are, in a lot of ways, in a lot of cases, they can do that. And then after, they will juggle that one and come and trauma bond that one, and then come back to you, triangulate, and then go back to them and really solidify that on cycle number 2. I mean, this is how these things kind of operate. So you have the impulsivity, you have the addiction to people and supply, and the opportunity for them to nail down a new supply. The other reason would be that they are incapable of having a relationship that is long term. They have to run in cycles. Their default is to run in cycles. That is their in a lot of ways, you want to know, when are they going to get their reaping, their negative reaping for the things they've done to you and stuff. But one of their negative reaping, whether they're with you or not, is that they have to run cycles. And when you get into narcissism, you get into psychopathy, and you get to that evil level, you can only run cycles of 3-4 months. And we're not talking, for those of you who think you can come into a narcissist life and you're going to change this part, this is the part that I think a lot of people get misconstrued when they start to learn about narcissism, that they think that they can do something, or because they're starting to understand narcissism, that they can find a way to keep this narcissist at bay by continually people pleasing them and knowing about narcissism now and increasing your people pleasing. And that is horrible. I mean, that'll never work. And then once you woke up, so if you woke up and you're denying the fact that, you want to leave the narcissist, well, listen, you can do that, but it's eventually going to hit you. It may take longer. It may take 5 or 10 years, but you're going to get destroyed to a point to where you're going to quit eventually. As if you've woken up, because you can't really go back to sleep. You can numb it again, but it's always going to be there, that you know what they are and what they're doing and why they're doing it. that they're evil. I mean, it's just evil. It's not anything good. It would be one thing if there was something just behind it, but there's not at all. And you're not going to be able to do that. And this is the thing, what I'm getting at. Those cycles don't change. You hear me? Those cycles don't change. So I think early on I thought that I could help the narcissist and find a way to help them heal or whatever. A lot of ways I thought that if I poured enough love out, that it would wake them up to what love is. But that doesn't work, because they cannot feel love. And it's just a hopeless romantic type stuff. Again, it's a fantasy. You know, so they bring you into their fantasy. But also, you got to understand, if it's a spell or a generational curse, it's going to be heavy. It's not just going to be like something that once you figure it out, you can just step right out of it. You do have to deal with the trauma bond, the addiction to that, the rumination, right? But that's not it. When you're coming out of it, continually coming out of it, you think that would be it. And then maybe building boundaries. But that's not it. You have a couple other steps, and these steps are, you're going to go through, part of the spell is because you think it's just to try to help them and heal them, to try to tell them maybe who they are so you can get them help. And that's like the worst thing. You don't want to do those things. You just want to really be in secret and leave. But chances are you're going to express these thoughts. But these are things that get them to just switch the mask up a little bit longer with you. That's my point. And they'll tell you that they're working on themselves because now you have figured out what they have, and, you know, whatever. Maybe they can tell you they didn't know any better, or they'll just deny it and call you the narcissist. But they're going to, you know, come back several times like that and draw you back in. And then the next part to the spell is thinking that you can satisfy them enough by knowing narcissism and learning more about it, that you could use it to the advantage of, now that you know narcissism, that you're going to be a super duper supply, and you're going to be able to really satisfy the narcissist or really know how to handle them. And that's not how it works. And that you're going to get to a place to where you would know how to handle them, to where they wouldn't cycle off on you and cheat on you or something. Or at some point you might have in your head that they're going to find some primary source of supply, and they're going to quit cheating, and they're going to quit cycling. They're never going to cycle again. They're going to find somebody one day and just settle down. And that's not how it works, y'all. The narcissist has to cycle 3 to 4 months, and they have to rotate. That is it. They're fixed. It will never change until the day they die. And if they look like they're settling, they may settle in some aspects, but you got to understand, if you grew up in a narcissist family, you're going to know that they're always miserable. Everybody in the family is miserable. They're always messing with your head. They're always messing with your finances, power, control. You get threatened. You get undermined. You never know when tomorrow the whole bottom's going to drop out of everything that you own and everything that you have worked hard for, because you're with a narcissist. And, you know, God forbid they get impulsive and you've been with them for 15 years and they leave you and they take everything out from under you. This is how it works. It could happen any day. You're definitely building your house on the sand. You cannot get them to quit cheating on you. You cannot get them to quit running cycles on you. You cannot get them healing and healthy. And you will never get them to love you. And you will never get them to absorb your love in the sense of them understanding it for what it truly is and its goodness. They absorb your love just to manipulate it so they can use it on their mask and in their mannerisms and in the way that they move in their seduction, so that they can seduce people with your energy and your love. That's all they're going to do with it. So those are good things to know, because those cycles don't end. And if you have that in your head and you know that these are going to be pitfalls coming out, it's not just the rumination. It's not just the trauma bond. It's not just the pain. It's not just the addiction. It's not just the trauma. It's not just the boundaries. It's not just the wolf in sheep's clothing and the betrayal. But also, when you come out of it, you think you can somehow be a super duper form of supply sometimes. Some of you. I mean, I did. And if I understand this stuff correctly, then I can figure out how to keep the narcissist at bay, and that you can get them to maybe understand. I thought that I could get them to stop running cycles, for a time. So I just wanted to give you things that I went through. And those are things that I believe are at the end of the spell when you're about to break free. These are things that pull you in for 2 or 3 more cycles. And they'll have the chance to tell you that they got saved. They'll have the chance to tell you that they changed, or they'll go to counseling or any of that, because you brought up the fact that you know what they are now. And it gives them 3 or 4 more ways out to get some more cycles in with you. So it really just burdens down and slows down your healing process. But, a lot of times you can't be telling somebody anything if they're going to do it anyway. They're hard-headed. People are hard-headed. I've been hard-headed. So you're going to do what you're going to do. But they do know that you were a better form, the best form of supply for them. Although they didn't love you or anything, they're still using you. But they do get to a point at some place in time, because what happens is they end up with something. And when you stop giving them supply and you move on, they start to cycle through all these different forms of supply, and over maybe a period of a few years, a few things dawn on them. One thing is they ain't ever getting you back anymore because it's been several years. Now, they may have a small hope of that, but they should know after several years that the chances are slim to none, or much less, right? And the other thing is, if they've been rotating supply for 3 or 4 years or more, because, since you left them, and they still can't meet your level of supply, they can't come close to it. I mean, they don't have the financial stability. They don't have the love. They don't have the support. They don't have the care. They don't have the forgiveness. They don't have the acceptance. They don't have the compassion to take them back over and over. And, to give them a lot of autonomy when you probably shouldn't have. But they will sit back and they will have to ponder these things. And for instance, when they come back to try to hoover you, they're already doing worse than you. If they're trying to hoover you, they're coming back because you're right then and there, you're the better supply. And chances are, the whole time they were away from you, they were fronting, or it was just new. That's the thing with narcissists too. They never give. So you can never have a relationship with somebody who never gives anything. Anything. They're always takers. Always. That's why if you get sick, they're gone. If you run out of money, they're gone. You run out of energy, they're gone. There's somebody younger that comes, they're gone, y'all. They don't give a damn. And they are gamblers. And there's always going to be somebody younger than you. There's always going to be somebody that is going to be willing. They're going to make willing a good individual to be a good triangulation source against what you represent. I mean, if somebody wants to play that game with you, that's a horrible game when somebody's triangulating every day, every week with you. Can't be with that. You can't trust them to go to the grocery store without cheating on you. But, I mean, and not that we're looking for their respect, but the fact of the matter is they really don't respect you. And to some degree, I don't know if they, to some degree, I understand, I can see their angle that they shouldn't, because we keep taking them back, y'all. And, you know, they look at you like, you know, this moron keeps taking me back. I mean, so they eventually start losing respect for you. And it wasn't like that in the beginning, but because you continue down that path, and I understand the seduction and the trauma, I'm one of y'all. And so I understand it. So I'm talking to myself first. I'm not even talking to y'all. I'm talking to me, okay? So don't get offended. But in my life, I went through all this stuff. And I know that they get to a point to where they don't respect you. And you could see it all over them. And you got to get to a place to where you let go of this. And the only place that you're ever going to get them to respect you and to gain that respect back, to get your energy, that's part of you getting your energy back. That's why I'm mentioning this. You getting your fuel back, yourself back, is for you to stand up. And I don't care if you're addicted to them. I don't care if you have a pull to them. I don't care if they're the most beautiful thing on the face of the earth. They mistreated you and they need to go. They got to go, y'all. And you need to man up. You know? I mean, really, y'all got to man up. Man and woman. But that's where they start to gain respect for you, and rightfully so. And then when they think they can keep coming and hoover you again because you've been so soft and they can't, well, now they have regret in some sort of fashion. But see, there's a stalemate because they're not going to come back. It's like you're both like this. And if you're not willing to go and hoover yourself, and they've tried hoovering you a few times and that's not working, they're not going to keep coming back because they're full of pride. And if they can't get any kind of fuel from you, then they're not coming. So that's kind of how it works. And it's going to have to end that way. That's why I said it's going to end to where the narcissist is going to want you and you're going to have to just disengage with them. And you're going to have to just get over it. And the narcissist is never going to give you closure. And the narcissist will always be willing to take you back. So these are things that you have to accept, you have to deal with, you have to man up to, and you need to walk away from. You don't need them. They don't give you anything anyway. So if you can give me a like, subscription, and thumbs up, love y'all. Till next time. Peace. We out.